Hey everyone. I want to talk to you guys about cops. I have police officers in my family. I did a rant before, I mentioned them lightly, so I figured I'd do one. A lot of people don't like cops in general because they've had bad run-ins with bad cops. Um, I'll be flat. A lot of you saying like all police officers are corrupt because of your bad run-ins. Thank you for insulting my family. Really, that's how I feel. You are insulting my family. Because I have 3 police officers. My brother, my brother-in-law, and my sister. You can kind of guess that that doesn't sit well with me. And they're all very good cops. In fact, all the encounters I've had were with good cops, even if it was my fault for something. And to be perfectly honest, a lot of cops see the bad cops and they facepalm because it makes them look bad. I understand there are those that are the school bully that grew up and get a power trip from it, and I don't like them being cops, and I would like to see them do more stringent psych tests to make sure that they are, not like that. I mean, even my dad's run into, like, rotten cops. One thought he was a drunk driver. My dad works nights, so... And he's showing the work ID and his license, and the younger cop is still giving him a hard time until the older cop came up and said, "Let him go, stupid." It was a cop having a power trip. I've had people pulled over when they didn't even know the law existed until they got pulled over, and the cop didn't even let him off because, I know ignorance isn't normally an excuse, but if you really didn't hear a damn thing about it, then what the hell are you supposed to do? And it was for a rather idiotic law, but my friends use this as an excuse to be as assholeish as possible about cops, and that pisses me off because they're not all like that, and I get really sick of those generalizations. I mean, I absolutely hate them. It would be like me saying, "Oh, all potheads are stupid," and I know that's not true. Or all meth heads are just lazy and can't deal with life. I know that's not true. It's something completely it's like different for every person. It's if I said this about any other occupation or any other thing, if I said it about doctors, or if I said it about um any something considered really noble by everyone, I get screamed at. The same is true for military. Some people just absolutely think all military people are bad, and that's not true either. I come from a military family as well. My grandfather was in World War II, and my father was in the Vietnam War. And not all military are bad. I've met a lot of nice people that have gone into the military. And unfortunately they are forced to follow orders. And many of them are doing it just to pay college or something simple like that. And many of them are against the wars that have been going on now. So it's just, again, it's the same thing as with the a fandom rant I did earlier. A few bad apples kind of spoil everything, and unfortunately it's pretty depressing. I mean, some people feel this way about doctors. People feel this way about lawyers, and I've met nice lawyers. I know this sounds really bizarre, but I've met nice lawyers that give 2 shits about you and don't, run you through the ringer. Of course, there is the opposite deal. Lawyers don't get the opposite that much, but a lot of people also over hero worship and forget there are bad people in those groups. There are bad cops. I will say this right now. There are bad cops. There are bad army people. I've heard a story about a bunch of military folks that were shooting a poor innocent dog for fun. How much of a douchebag do you have to be to do that? I've heard of firefighters that were terrible people. There was one that was an arsonist, weirdly enough. Yeah, you wrap your head around that. I've already tried. There are doctors that kill people, that do the exact opposite of what they're supposed to do. Granted, these are all very extreme cases, but these are the point is simple and flat. A lot of people kind of forget that the heroic jobs or the wicked jobs are just human. I'm probably one of the few people that don't make that many lawyer jokes and don't see lawyers as honest pricks for the most part. I've made a few exceptions to the rule, but then again, when you look at what they do on stage, so to speak, in the courtroom, you get the feeling that they're doing that. And it's not, defense versus a prosecuting attorney, because sometimes it's either one. But there are lawyers that will work pro bono for people who really need help. I've met them. I've dealt with them. And it's really awesome. Teachers are the same way. They're human. There's good teachers and there's bad teachers. I've had my share of both. I've run into, firefighters I haven't, thankfully. And I say thankfully, that means my house has never been on fire and my cat's never been up a tree. I've never really needed a firefighter, so that's probably a good thing in my case. I've met good doctors and I've met bad doctors. I've met good policemen and I haven't yet, but I'm sure I will meet bad policemen. And bad policemen you just want to give the middle finger to because they're making the rest of their group look bad. It's just people forget these are human. Same with religious figures. There are good religious figures and bad religious figures. One of the funniest religious figures I ever met was one that looked like Rasputin. And I'm not sure if he was good or bad, but he certainly, he wasn't like evil or anything, even though he looked it. It was kind of funny. And he was in a Russian Orthodox church wearing the Rasputin robes. It was perfect. Yeah, it's like a weird thing from when I was a kid. Well, in college, actually. But, yeah, it's just that kind of deal. And, if you dislike cops just because they're cops, I'm sorry, but... And if you dislike cops because they keep busting you for pot, maybe you should be more careful of where you smoke the pot. And I am pro-legalization, by the way. And I'm sure, actually, a lot of police officers are pro-legalization, too, just so you know, because they see it as a waste of time. If you get pissed off because they bust you for not driving with your seatbelt, hey, stupid, you're supposed to do that. Or if you're talking on your cell phone, that's like drunk driving, actually, and they've done tests on this. My main point is that, don't go by anything to judge anyone. It seems to be one of the other themes of a lot of the things I talk about is don't judge, don't do that, because generalizations in general are just stupid, and it's like the one generalization I'll make. If I do say a particular group, it's more of this group is saying, or this prominent members of this group. I will never say they're all, in fact, I'll even qualify it, not all of them are saying this. Yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. I'll catch